Hey guys, what's happening? Welcome back. It is season 2 of Cobra Kai here on AfterBuzz TV, episode 10. No mercy. You gotta strike first. You gotta strike hard, and it's gonna get crazy right now as we break down the finale. We'll see you guys in a second.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Holy Karate High School.
Wow.
I cannot
Wow.
believe it.
I needed an hour, not 30 minutes. I needed an hour.
And
Yeah.
it was an adrenaline. I was on an adrenaline kick for like a good hour after I saw that episode.
I didn't even, I think I had been watching and I was so invested. This is the finale, by the way, guys. Of course. It's right into it. I had been watching and been so invested in the show that I think I hadn't even realized where in the timeline of the school year it was. I kept being there's gonna have to be some tournament or something. Then realizing as we were watching this, of course there wasn't gonna be a tournament. We would have known about it.
Yeah.
So
They
what
just started back up at school.
Back at yeah.
and then the
it's summer.
fight. So I mean, there's a lot to talk
Oh,
about.
boy.
So I mean, I think we want to talk about this Johnny and Daniel controversy. We want to talk about the parenting, the door kicking in, the fight. We actually get some hand-to-hand combat there. We want to talk about this giant high school fight, so crazy, just crushing personal injury, and of course the ending. We want to talk about Creese and the future of Cobra Kai as a dojo, as well as the future of Miyagi-Do. So there's a huge amount to cover, and I think we should just jump straight into topic number 1, which is Sam wasn't home. She went over to Johnny's. Robbie took her there. She's wasted, passes out, and in the morning, Ralph Macchio, our boy Daniel LaRusso, where's my daughter?
Yeah.
Throughout the entire season, it almost he was very relaxed with Sam. Didn't know they were dating. That she was dating Robbie. Wasn't all the way up on top of certain kids. You never really saw him being that much of a hands-on parent.
He doesn't worry about her.
Yeah, and then it was this. I was whoa, switch flipped.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And so they do the parent thing. They hack into the computer.
Yes.
They do the Find My iPhone
course,
movie.
Amanda
mom
is
knows.
a pro.
She's like, don't ask questions. Just don't ask.
Yeah, of course. We were so drunk, I can't believe it. They called the cops. And it's you're in trouble now.
Text that.
Which great flashback too of Amanda knows the password and can get on. And earlier in the season, when Danny went into Sam's room and was on the laptop, and he closed it off because Amanda came in and was what am I doing? I'm not doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
And now it's Amanda does the same thing.
And she knows it. And she
Yeah.
actually knows the password. Yeah, it's so funny. So, so she wakes up and Robbie's like, look, you do me this solid. You can't tell Mr. LaRusso. It'll crush him to see her like this. And he's like, I got your back, son. I'm your dad.
Sweet moment.
And of course, though, LaRusso shows up and it's funny because his temper is hotter than Johnny's,
Yes.
actually.
Yeah.
He's more irrational.
Which is did not seem to be the case and was never the story. But looking back at that original Karate Kid, it does actually make sense. Like Daniel is kind of he's a bully in his own way.
He's he's definitely an antagonist, and he's impulsive. He
Yeah.
has impulsive tendencies.
He has spikes that go higher than Johnny's.
Definitely. And Johnny feels like Johnny's had to fight in his life. He's he's gone through a lot of tough stuff. He's really lived some life. He's gone through hardship. He's been low. And LaRusso feels in a lot of ways he hasn't.
Yeah.
He everything after the Karate Kid went up for him.
Yep.
He got married.
Silver platter.
Yeah, and so he feels like he's way more entitled. He gets way more pissed when things don't go his way. Whereas Johnny just either goes on a bender or decides that he's gonna, be reasonable.
And Johnny, who his first drink in the morning is not water, it's Coors, the banquet beer, I'm sure is yeah, your kids drank. It happens. Whereas LaRusso is no, this is not okay. And it's not okay that you were A, at a party drinking, but B, that you then didn't come home and went to Johnny's.
Which is why I think he was really upset.
He's
The whole drinking thing, maybe he wouldn't have been as hard on her, but it was more that she went to Johnny.
Of course, because he's just I can't believe, and
Yeah.
now he's experiencing what Johnny's been experiencing the entire season, which is that my son's living with you, bro. He comes to you for advice. He tells me that I'm never going to be the man you are. How do you think I've felt for 10 episodes?
Exactly, and that was the one thing where I was I understand Danny's worry, but it was kind of hard in a sense to get behind him because exactly what you're saying, Ben. He didn't bother to tell Johnny about Robbie basically being evicted from where he was previously living and just kind of keeping that a secret. So, they both did the exact same thing.
And I love that Johnny's you need to calm down. And he's like, you need to calm down. He kicks the door in,
my
and
gosh.
we get the fight we've been waiting for. They both still got some moves. It's a pretty good fight.
Yeah.
Pretty good fight. And of course, Sam wakes up during the fight. What are you guys doing? LaRusso throws out some stuff. You know, I was made a mistake to give you a second chance. If you want to end up like him, come on,
Robbie,
Sam.
that was heartbreaking. Oh my gosh.
I don't know why he took it out on Robbie necessarily. It's not like, unless he assumes that like Robbie influenced her to drink, if that's where he's coming from. But others, I was like, I don't really know why he's going.
Probably.
He was just caught up in
Yeah.
the moment.
You always want to trust your daughter, and so it's like, oh, it was someone else's fault.
I mean, 20 episodes
point.
deep, it is indisputable that Daniel is the villain and Johnny is the hero.
100%.
Right? Like, indisputable. I mean, Daniel is super judgmental. He's way more irrational.
I don't root for him.
I don't root for him. And that's so surprising. And it's been
I
that
can't
way.
call him a villain. I think that's too harsh.
Then he's the antagonist? I
Yes,
mean, he's not the
I will
villain.
give him that.
I
Like,
think,
Creese is the villain, or Hawk, or somebody
Yeah.
like that, like a bully. But, like, it is so hard to get behind LaRusso.
Agreed.
It's
Yes.
so difficult to like understand his thought process or just like root for him at all. You're just like, I root for your wife more than you, man. You know?
True.
Which I'm now curious, after having Mary Mauser in for the last 2 episodes, what Sam was wearing in this scene. Was she wearing red or was she wearing blue?
She was wearing pink.
At the party?
Pink,
Pink.
red.
At the party?
No, in the morning.
She had a t-shirt on.
Between when she breaks up Danny and Johnny.
Oh, yeah.
She had
Because
a-
she said, like, the set director and the fashion director on the set dressed her in blue and red a lot of times so that she was a middle person.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, what was she wearing in this scene?
She
a
had
good
a light
question.
colored top on, so she wore a light blue blouse at the party. So I'm assuming it was that same blouse.
Same one.
Yeah.
So now this all goes down. Kids go to school the next day. You know, Robbie gets driven to school by Johnny, and Sam gets driven to school by Daniel. And it's like, whatever. He's like, focus on pre-calc, and he's like, here, I think these are the things you need. Thanks, Dad. So it's a moment. You're
I
like,
love
okay.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Very
good.
sweet.
And then all hell breaks loose.
I know.
0 to 100 real quick. Did you
Real
guys see
quick.
this coming?
I didn't know what I could have expected from the finale because obviously it made sense the first season we got a tournament. We're not getting a tournament. We're not even getting, a battle, like a scheduled match or whatever. So I
Right.
was very curious. I was not expecting this.
I mean, like, I love, like, the kiss. Robbie is, like, the thing about the Medal of Honor, and she's, like, about to tell him. She's like, Robbie, bell rings.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you're like, and as soon as that happens, though, you're like, well, because of that moment, absolutely it's going to get exposed in the next little bit because they would never have given us that moment otherwise. And then Tory breaks into the office.
Well, that was a really funny moment because it reminded me, like, who uses an intercom anymore to make those kinds of announcements?
Yes.
That reminded me of Grease.
Yeah.
Because they did that in Grease. So that was kind of an LOL moment. So I wasn't expecting everything to just hit the fan.
You know what you did. I'm coming for you, bitch.
Oh my God.
I was hyped.
Samantha LaRusso.
I was hyped. I got
Yeah.
really excited when that happened because you knew there was about to be a big fight. This episode was like, and Klaus, I'd like you to talk about this because I think you came in here kind of griping about how unrealistic this was compared to a lot of the other episodes.
Yeah, I definitely watching this again. I loved the entire series, season 1 and season 2. I've loved it. I was not a fan of this episode, and throughout season 1 and 2, they pegged this show as a totally realistic show, total reality. Even when we talked a couple episodes ago about when they vandalized the car dealership. And it's like, yeah, maybe you didn't go to police because you wanted honor and you wanted respect and you had the money to fix it and it just wasn't worth all the drama. This episode, I was like, it would be enjoyable if I totally suspend reality. How do you have 200 kids in a school all fighting one another? There's literally 0 teachers. There's 0 security personnel besides Stingray, who comes in like halfway
Interviewing.
through. And it's not even like push and shove. This is literal bloody noses, cut up lips. We have a barbed wire fist punch.
So
Like,
crazy.
And nobody is stopping this. And
Yeah.
I was just like, okay, call something. Like, I don't mind a fight, but that hurt it for me.
Yeah.
And it's not even like, oh, that was like the last 4 or 5 minutes of the episode. This was like halfway through, more so. And so that hurt it for me.
Yeah.
I didn't find that I totally hear what you're saying. I didn't find that it hurt the episode for me though. I felt like it being a little unrealistic was fine. It's like it didn't take away or add or whatever. But I thought having a big kid fight was fun. I like that aspect. That's like, if you're gonna do a big fight, then this is a great way to do it. I guess you could have done it out of a school. Could have been like a bunch of kids fighting in an alley or on the beach or something.
I would have enjoyed that better.
Maybe the party, like you just have a big fight at the party.
After school.
Yeah. But you have so many things happening here. Like you have Stingray applying for the job as the security, which is great. Hilarious.
Very funny. But I mean, I was also just going to say something of like, I do like how they kind of tried to address maybe the slight unrealisticness of this episode by having the teacher come out and being like, I'm not going to break this up because they don't pay me enough to do this. And it's true. It's like, if I was an average Joe Schmo teacher, I wouldn't want to be getting in between these kids who are literally expert fighters.
Yeah, you live in like, you're teaching in like the suburbs of Los Angeles or deep in the valley. Maybe it's Reseda or something like that. And it's like, you probably make like 41 grand a year and get a summer vacation, like no formal training whatsoever. I feel like you wouldn't put yourself, a bunch of kids fighting each other with like spikes on their hand. What, you're gonna go try to break that up?
I thought it was interesting because to me it was almost a comedic moment.
Yeah.
You know how that line was delivered was in a funny way.
Yeah.
So it kind of took me out of what was going on and made me think, oh well, things aren't going to be as bad as I think they're going to be.
Yeah. My only issue is that was like already like 10 minutes into the fight.
Yeah.
And you're already out in the hallway, which I will say, and I wonder if anyone else had this. I incorrectly predicted this while I was watching when they showed the security guard and they were like, their application and you have Stingray.
You thought it was Creese.
I thought it was gonna. I thought they were gonna
before
say
they
no
show
to
him.
Stingray, and I was like, "Here's Creese's entrance." It's totally sets up for an amazing season 3 where he is a security guard.
He's
and
security, which would make sense.
That's how he infiltrates.
I literally thought that it wasn't even going to be Stingray. When the interview was happening, I was like, oh, it's Creese.
Yeah.
This is what he said about starting a war. Now he's going to be able to influence the kids directly every day. But yeah,
and you have a badge.
totally surprised. But yeah, the fight starts with Tory and Sam, and like you have Miguel and you have Robbie, and they take off running to find like this point, like this conflict
women.
point. Yes, they're women. And of course, like one by one, each of the kids gets involved. Hawk is like, yes!
Yes.
And Hawk just goes in and just starts like
release.
wrecking people.
He's loving life.
Yeah, he's loving life because he's just so angry. He just wants to kick ass. You have the two kids who, again, I said this in an earlier show, but like they don't ever identify those kids' names. Most of the kids in Miyagi-Do who are former Cobra Kai, Chris, we basically don't know any of the rest of their names. Like the two like kind of nerdy smaller kids that get picked up.
They were my favorite fight. It was just very comical to watch them.
It was great.
And I love the fact that every single person on Cobra Kai and Miyagi-Do kind of had that one mere rival.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, totally. And Chris and his dude, and he like, that's awesome. He just wrecks him with the book. All the fighting. I loved all the fighting. But yeah, what do you guys think about the Dimitri Hawk fight?
I loved it. I think it was perfect. I didn't want a long drawn out. Well, it couldn't have been long and drawn out because Dimitri's not equipped to really fight Hawk. So I loved that. Poor Hawk. He never won. Every fight he's been in, he's lost for the most part.
Well, I think that really sets it up for the next season too, because you see that at the end, the realization that Hawk is now the #1 pupil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. Like but I also think that like the whole idea that Hawk is this angry fighter, he'll always come up short, is the message of the show.
Yep.
That if you are Creese, if you are old school Cobra Kai, you'll never really win. Maybe you'll win the battle, but you'll lose the war, kind of a thing. And so we'll see how they play with that. But speaking of the rest of the fight, the big fight in the school, I mean, everybody has their moment. Sam gets into it with Tory. There's this crazy, as Mary was telling us when we had her on the last couple episodes, this huge shot that runs. You see all these kids fighting. Stingray goes nuts, which I love. Very agile dude.
I was very impressed.
Yeah,
Wasn't expecting that.
You learned something.
When he walks past Hawk, does he like touch his mohawk for a second? Or like what does he do?
He did do something.
I thought like
For what, like good luck or something?
It's like he
or-
waves his hand over his head or something. I was trying to, I was serious, just trying to watch it and like get through everything. But like he has a moment with Hawk, I think, where he like doesn't hit him or doesn't stop him. Maybe he's afraid of him because they're both Cobra Kais.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but crazy fight. And then of course the big moment where Robbie is fighting with Miguel and he's like, "You took advantage of Samantha. I never took advantage of her. Then why'd you kiss her?" Shows mercy. This is a big moment. This is a huge moment for Miguel. For Diaz to show mercy here because he thinks about the lesson that he learned. I actually thought when he goes to his head for a second and he sees the image and he's like practicing mercy, I thought that then he was going to see an image of Creese. saying something about there is no mercy, and he was going to hit him again.
Oh.
I didn't think that at all. I think it's always been Miguel's character that, like, he'll have moments where he's not thinking clearly or he's misguided, but he'll always come back to kind of like that good student who wants to be able to learn karate, but also have like a moral compass.
Do the honorable thing. Yeah,
do the honorable thing.
I'm interested, and we have people in the live chat, Chaos and Marvin, by the way. Shout out to you guys. Thank you for tuning in and commenting live. They were kind of talking about who won this battle.
Does it really matter at the end result?
And they both said that Cobra Kai won this battle, and I don't know if there was a winner. Do you guys think maybe? I mean, Cobra Kai, I think, metaphorically won or whatever, literally won. Figuratively, I don't know.
De facto, right? Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah.
I mean, from a base standpoint, Miguel won, but showed mercy, right? So Cobra Kai, in that sense, in a fighting sense, wins, but showed mercy, got kicked off a ledge, broke his neck or something like that. Whatever happened, we're not
How do
totally
you
sure.
survive that?
Yeah.
That was painful to watch.
Yeah.
I cringed really hard.
That was
Brutal.
was hard to watch.
Well,
It was very hard to watch.
I hate to say it, but before I'd gotten to this episode, we had taped the first two already, and I was looking at some of the comments, and somebody made a comment about falling and breaking a back.
Oh.
And it got ruined for me.
ruined. Oh, I'm so sorry.
And I knew it was coming. I didn't know exactly who or how or what. But I saw that comment, and once it's in there, you can't get it out.
Yeah.
I needed, it's like I got incepted.
Yep.
So when it happened, I was like, that's how it happens. And of course, the stakes change immediately. Everybody is totally freaked out. The fight ends, and everybody's so upset. And you cut to the hospital. You cut to basically the reality of what's going on. The
And I thought
hospital
that's where
reaction.
it was going to end. The episode, him falling, boom, boom, boom.
I
done.
kept checking like the time to like, okay, good. I still have like 10 minutes left of this episode. Something's got to happen.
Yeah.
Well, there had to be some wrap up because you had to have things happen. Like characters had to go in different directions. So let's kind of go piece by piece here. And I think we don't have a huge amount of time left in the episode, but I want to make sure we do get through a little bit of the ending and some of our predictions for next season. So the first thing that happens is in the hospital, you have Johnny and Daniel.
Yeah.
They end up in the elevator together. They're just silently kind of reacting to what's happening.
And so glad they didn't have a confrontation.
Yeah.
Because I really thought this is not the time to get into
The
anything.
silence says more.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I wouldn't have been surprised had Daniel made a snarky comment just because he is so judgmental and being like, oh, your Cobra Kai's did this. But I think in that moment, they both mutually understood, hey, our karate kids found themselves in a really bad situation. We need to,
As parents,
take a moment.
Yeah. Now, next you have Carmen and her reaction to Johnny. And he's
Yeah.
worked so hard, and he for the first time in his life or in his adult life, he's kind of felt good about himself for periods of time this last year. And then she really liked him. They had a great time together, and she's so upset. And she says, before you, Miguel would avoid a fight. I never want to see you again. And that's brutal.
Yeah.
So Johnny's kind of losing his confidence, losing everything. On the flip side of it, of course, you have Amanda and Daniel, and he's like, okay, Cobra Kai, they're gonna pay, and she's like, no, over stupid karate rivalry.
We're done.
Yeah.
It's done.
It's done. You got to be done. Like, have you seen what's happened? And so I always wonder with television, like when you set at the end of a season of TV, when you set it up like that, it feels like, how could we possibly come back from this? Do you guys like it when a season ends with big question marks like that? How can we possibly come back from this? Or do you like it when it's a little more mapped out?
I think in this particular case, I like that there are a lot of open questions because I have theories that I honestly kind of hope they go my way, but who's to say?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I like middle. I don't like it as much as what they did here, but I don't want it to be totally a season wrap.
Yeah.
Actually, that's why I really enjoyed the end of 9, because I was like, oh, great, they came together. Like, now I'm interested to see where this could go, or could they join forces or whatever. And now I'm like,
Yeah, but I think the idea is you just have to leave some sort of a cliffhanger. But I'm with you. I mean, I felt better at the end of 9 than I did at the end of 10. So, so that happens. You kind of get the message there that Miyagi is going to have to kind of go away. And then finally, when Johnny goes back to the dojo and it's open and Creese is in there, and I think as soon as the door was open, we all knew this was coming, right? We knew that there was no way the season was going to end without Creese somewhere.
I knew he was in there, but I didn't know what was going down.
I thought that turn was a little fast, because what did Creese do? Did Creese go to the dojo? Did he call the students? Did he?
Yeah, how did you get in touch with...
Like, how did they all go to the dojo to train when Miguel's in the hospital?
Yeah.
Oh, I think he's been infiltrating the kids for a long time, just under the radar.
He's definitely using their fear and their sadness and their anger right now to manipulate them because they clearly think that by Miguel showing mercy is the reason he is in the hospital, which is very morphed way of
He's
thinking.
got Hawk, so Hawk can communicate with everybody else.
Yeah.
Well, and they blame Miguel's injury on Johnny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, he says this is on you.
Yeah.
If he dies, Hawk says that. If he dies, that's on you.
wrong.
Which the line from Creese is, quote, "I founded Cobra Kai. It belongs to me. It always has and it always will. I will never let my kids lose, even if they have to learn the hard way. One day you'll thank me for this."
So it sets up real conflict. I mean, obviously, you know, Johnny walks out. You can have it. This was a mistake. He's, I think, referring to just Cobra Kai coming back at all. He's taking his moment from episode 6 and hanging out with the guys. His old, when they say, "What are you doing bringing this back?" That's what I think he means, is this was a mistake. They were right. I should never have not just let you back in, but even revived Cobra Kai, period. And he goes to the beach, and he smashes his bottle, and he throws his phone.
Yes.
And after he throws his phone, what do we see as the final shot that pops up?
I think
Did
bad
not
timing.
see that.
Friend request.
Friend
I did
request.
not see that coming.
From Allie. I knew once the message sent, we would have to see
would be
something
something.
in the last episode.
But I wasn't even in the mind frame that's when it was going to show up.
so
I didn't know who it was.
I don't know if it's confirmed yet, but it's hard to imagine that at this point in her career, Elizabeth Shue would not want to come on. She's like still working. She looks great.
Yeah.
She's like, I think Elizabeth Shue would be a great ad for season 3. Like, you bring her in and like, but I'm wondering how she's gonna bring Johnny back. Like, and how is that going to play in? But I would love to see it. I think that I loved how that
Absolutely.
ended.
I think it could make sense to bring Allie back, just in the sense that, like, at this point, Johnny has lost everyone.
Yeah.
So to bring someone new in that doesn't kind of know all of the baggage would probably be helpful for him next season.
So here's my prediction: is Johnny and Daniel are going to get together and form a new dojo, and that's going to start the season.
Yes.
And then the friction point is when Allie's going to come back, and that's going to
Strong.
cause that break between
Why
them.
would it be a friction point? Daniel's perfectly happy with.
It's still a competition.
Still a
Yeah.
competition.
I mean, it'll raise
it's
wounds.
male testosterone.
Yes, true
That's
that.
why.
There you go.
I think it's a pretty good prediction. I think that's a really strong prediction, and this is the first part of the show we actually get to do predictions, because that's not none of the next season is out there. So, questions that are written down here. So obviously Johnny and Allie, that's one. You mentioned that you think he's going to team up with Daniel. Is Daniel actually done fighting? Do you think Miyagi-Do is actually done?
I think once he sees the return of Creese, he'll just have a gut instinct to get back at it.
Yeah.
And I think that'll be a friction point between him and Amanda, because he's gonna have to tell her I can't let this go.
I think Amanda will eventually Amanda will encourage him to get back in the right way. Just like she is Mr. Miyagi, she will say, you still need to play defense. You were playing offense all of this season. You're opening up this dojo, you're doing the commercial, you're doing the presentation at the festival. You still need to play defense. Defense is still okay.
But do you think Johnny's going to completely let go of Cobra Kai, or bring some of the elements that he loves about Cobra Kai and incorporate it into Miyagi-Do?
I'm not totally sure if they're going to do the like join together move. They might. It still seems like a little bit of a stretch to jump straight into that. What I do think, though, is the Miguel storyline that we're going to get, and it's a question if it's going to be a 1 or a 2 season storyline. If the injury turns out to be somewhat minor, like it's a fracture and it heals and he just starts rehabbing, then it'll be a full school year, 6 months of rehab, and he'll fight in the tournament, and it'll be a big like courageous comeback, and he'll win the tournament, and that'll be how. But I think probably realistically that's too fast of a turnaround.
Yeah.
And it's he sits in a wheelchair or like on a walker or is too weak to fight, but he like helps coach his guys back with the lessons of Lawrence, and then in season 4 he wins the tournament in the comeback season.
I think the first half of the season, Miguel will, like you said, Ben, will probably be in a wheelchair recovering from his injuries, and I think he's going to be the one that convinces both Danny and Johnny to open another dojo, because I think right now Miguel's going to have to be the one, unless Allie comes back, the one to bring Johnny out of that dark place and to give him hope again.
Yeah.
He's the only one who truly believes in Johnny at this point, probably.
Chaos and Marvin are talking in the chat of, will the cops get involved with Robbie, and what will that be with him next season? Because we didn't see him at the end of this episode.
We didn't see him. No,
so
you're right.
is he in jail? How much are we suspending reality? That is there a way that he doesn't have some kind of criminal punishment. You just kicked a guy off a 3-story ledge. And he broke his back.
I think that's like a would he go to court situation? Like what, you're kicking and punching and everybody's throwing each other through glass. Like he kicks him. It's not like he kicks him off a ledge.
No,
he kicks him and he falls backwards.
What happened? Yeah.
Off of a ledge. Like you could, and I don't know how that works in a court of law, but I think if the writers want to suspend that, they're able to. There's also a pressing charges thing, like depending on if he's okay, if he does wake up and he's okay. Like I actually don't think they're going to try to. That's why I don't think they're going to put Miguel in a wheelchair all season. I think they're going to do it as like a tactic for part of it, but I think his injury is going to be less extreme than we thought. I think he'll recover faster than we think because I don't think they want him to be that character who's not in the mix.
Yeah. I did love the Hitchcock moment of him falling backwards.
Yeah, for sure.
That was like a homage.
So last question for you guys. Dimitri and Hawk. How's Hawk going to recover from that as the lead student of Cobra Kai? Do you think he can handle the load? Do you think he's going to be able to? Is it a good thing, a bad thing? Is it going to make it even worse? Is he going to become worse?
Oh, he's going to by far become worse now that he's definitely under the instruction of Creese. And I think, he will fight and fight and fight to always feel like he can win, always have the power.
I think they set it up this season, whereas the first season, you were like, oh, Hawk is weak. Hawk is still weak. He's still clearly number 2 or number 3 or whatever. This season with the fight in the creek and the woods, they set it up that they're pretty evenly matched. And now that you don't have Miguel...
Or Robbie,
I think you're certainly setting up that he is the top dog.
Hawk's power is growing stronger.
Yeah, and he's definitely he's a sub character in season 1 that's really turned into a main character in season 2. He's really become one of the leads. So, that's gonna wrap us up here, guys. Really quickly before we get out of here, I want to remind everybody here that AfterBuzz TV is the ESPN of TV talk. We want to thank you guys for listening and watching. And honestly, your support in giving us a rating or review on iTunes is the most helpful thing you can possibly do to help us stay high in the standings and continue providing free content here at AfterBuzz TV. We honestly probably do an after show for just about every single show you like. So go find us on YouTube. We have all different verticals, all different channels. There's dramas, there's reality TV, there's superheroes, there's red carpet interviews. You can still go watch our season 2 interviews that Tami and I did the other day with the cast of Cobra Kai at Paley. But so check that out, and thank you guys so much for supporting the show. It really means the world to us. Folks, where can they find you if they want to follow along with you?
Well, if you want to talk more about Cobra Kai or anything else, just follow me on Instagram or on Twitter at @TheOnlyMC. Reach out.
And you can follow me on Twitter at Tami Goveia, on Insta, Tami Goveia Official.
You can find me, Veronica Valencia, on Twitter and Instagram at @itsme_Veronica_V.
You guys can find me at Ben Bateman Media on Twitter and Instagram. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and thanks to AfterBuzz TV for keeping this thing going. Loved it. See you guys next season.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.